Hey guys, TJ Houston here with Pixel Connection, and today we're talking about a new camera from Fujifilm. This has been a camera that we've seen so many rumors about, so many people are excited for, and it was a camera that started all the way back in 2014 with the first one, and the first one was the XT1, and today we're talking about the XT4. We're gonna share some of the features of the camera. We're gonna share just some photos from the camera, some video, because this thing is a video powerhouse. And then we're gonna end up with our traditional format, which is 5 things we like and 5 things we don't. Let's get shooting. So the all-new XT4 from Fuji. So what's new with this camera? We're gonna do a video breakdown of the XT3 versus the XT4, as well as some of the video features. This is more of a first look video where we talk more about the specs and show you some example footage. So let's talk about some of the things that have changed with this camera. First thing Fuji users are gonna notice is the new fully articulating screen. So if you like that vlog life, you wanna see yourself in your filming, it's gonna be great for that. Another thing that Fuji users are going to notice is that this camera now has in-body image stabilization, and that's up to 6.5 stops. That is a huge upgrade, even over the XH1. They all the ones, the H's, they kind of blur together in my head. The XH1 had image stabilization, but nowhere near what this thing can do. You'll notice on the bottom here, we do have a larger battery as well. Gloves are kind of hard to do this with, but we have a new battery from Fuji that is promising about double the capacity as the XT3. So you can see it's a much larger battery, so that way you're shooting even longer. The new battery grip will also hold 2 batteries, so you have a total of 3 batteries. So non-stop shooting all day, even with the in-body image stabilization, is not gonna be a problem. So what is that stabilizer? What is it stabilizing? It's stabilizing a 26.1 X-Trans4 sensor, and it's being processed by an all-new processor from Fuji. That processor is unlocking a lot of new features, specifically on video. So in our tests, we've seen improved autofocus, we've seen better autofocus in low light, and we've seen a ton of new video features that really make this thing a powerhouse. There's a few other ergonomic changes as well. It is a little bit thicker of a body. So with that battery being larger, you can see that this grip is also much larger. We'll see that the video or the mode dial here has a secondary dial on the bottom now, and it now has a still and movie. So it's very intentional when you're shooting, whether it's movie or still. Before, we saw it on the other side. Some of the things that are what we're used to, with Fuji cameras are still here. We're still seeing our exposure compensation dial. We're still seeing manual controls for our ISO, for our shutter speed, and for our aperture. So you're able to just quickly make your changes like you're used to on a Fuji body and have that run and gun style. And lastly, we still have that Fuji look and feel. It still looks like a film camera. It still has those aesthetics. It's still very small, lightweight, compact, especially for all the features that are built in. All these things come together and they make a fabulous camera in the XT4. And it was a camera that a lot of people have been waiting for. And I think that Fujifilm users are gonna be super happy with this upgrade. Make sure you keep an eye on our YouTube channel because we're gonna do side-by-side videos on the XT3 versus the XT4, as well as just the video features of this camera because they've added quite a bit. Let's go see what this camera can do and show you some even more footage from this camera. So you know when a camera company is serious about video when they have a specific mode dial now for movie. Before it was just kind of mixed in with the other dials. Now underneath where you set your shutter speed, you actually have a dedicated movie dial. It goes between still and movie. And that's because this camera now has a ton of video features. So the first is a physical feature, and that is the fully articulating touchscreen. So let's say you're wanting to vlog, like I talked about a little bit earlier, you're able to see what you're doing. Or if you're setting up a shot like this, I'm able to put this camera on a tripod, make sure my shot's lined up and ready to roll. That's also gonna be nice for if you are shooting street and you want to shoot, you want to look down, kind of that hip level, hand hold some video, you're able to look down and see what's going on. And what I like about this type of touchscreen is you have this 3-point kind of suspension system, support system, if you will, where it kind of goes on your arm. You have a hand here and your lens, and it gives you really, really stable footage. Another physical change with this camera as it pertains to video is the image stabilization. So we are now up to 6.5 stops of image stabilization with the XT4. They've also added a digital image stabilization that gives you like a tripod mode that gives you super still footage. So you'll see here where we have it just the regular image stabilization, and then we'll give you a clip that has the actual digital image stabilization turned on. And you can see just how smooth that helps this footage. It's like you're on a gimbal when you're using this camera. So let's talk about frame rates, all that stuff that us filmmakers want to know about. So we have DCI 4K at 60 frames per second, and that is all recorded internally. So we also get 240 frames in HD. So if you're looking to get some slow-mo, you can do it. If you want that super high-res 4K at 60 frames per second, you have that. And then all your normal codecs that we saw in the XT3 have now come over to this camera as well. So we're looking at 422, we're looking at F-Log. Filmmakers are going to love this camera. That no more do you have to have 2 separate cameras, one for stills, one for film. You now have all the features that you want in a video camera baked into the XT4. So let's take a look at some footage from the camera and you decide. We think it's pretty awesome.
Like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Stop. Yep.
We are inside, we're warming up, and we're in one of our favorite breweries. We've actually done a couple events here, so we want to thank them once again for opening up their doors and allowing us to film to finish up this video on the XT4. So if you watched our previous videos, you know that we like to end with 5 things that we like and 5 things that we don't like about the camera. So let's start off with the things that we don't like. So number 1, it's kind of a necessary evil or a catch-22 or insert cliche here, and that is the new battery. So it was super nice with Fuji was the one company that had very few batteries. So if you had their entire line of product, you could just take those batteries back and forth. So with their new battery, although we do like that it's a lot more space, we're gonna be shooting a lot longer, it does suck that we're gonna have to buy some new batteries. So the second thing would be the AF on placement on the actual camera itself. It just doesn't feel like where the Q menu, when I was shooting, I noticed myself hitting the Q button a lot instead of the AF on button. So as you're holding it up to your eye, it's just not comfortable. I think it'll just take some getting used to, but that button placement is just kind of strange. So I haven't really looked to remapping that. That might be a solution in the future, but that was one thing that ergonomically, we just didn't like that very much. So let's talk about the screen. So this is one thing that in the office, in the store, that a lot of us were torn on because, doing video, I like having that. Being that I was previously a Panasonic shooter and now more of a Canon shooter, I do like having my articulating screen. That being said, the screen doesn't feel like super robust, super well built. And also, if you notice on the bottom here, there's this lip where it kind of rests inside. So if you notice in the video, like when you're trying to open it up, I'm used to just grabbing it from the bottom and popping it out. Here I have to kind of reach in this little hole here in order to pull that out. So the design of this, I mean, it's their first kind of foray with this body size, with this screen. So we'll see, it's definitely a better, higher resolution touchscreen. It's definitely a welcome change in order to have that fully articulating touchscreen. But having that lip there, it just kind of bothers us a little bit. Another thing is the with the 4K. Is it enough? You know, we're in 2020 right now, so you know we see rumors of 8K cameras coming out. We see 6K with Panasonic. Is 4K enough? I don't know. You know, so that was one thing that we were hoping that we had that option to maybe get 6K or a higher resolution. But honestly, 4K at 60 frames per second, you know, we applaud Fuji for that. That's a huge upgrade on this camera. And finally, the last thing is the headphone and microphone. So if you put the external battery grip on, you have access to both the headphone and the microphone, but you can see on the side of the camera, all we have built into the camera is the microphone jack. So it does come with a USB-C to microphone or to headphone adapter, but it's just kind of janky, if that's the right word for it, to have this other adapter here in order to have both. It would have been nice to have headphone and microphone built in, especially on a camera like this that's, you know, they took so much time and putting, you know, the thought behind the video that they have that good audio ports. I did want to make mention too, I didn't talk about this on the earlier segment about video, but this can be a microphone or a line in as well. So if you are mixing from a board and you want that line in, you're absolutely able to do that here. So what are the things that we like? We like the bigger grip. It feels comfortable in the hand. Having that extra battery, making this a little bit wider of a body, makes it very comfortable. Having this little ridge here, you know, where your thumb kind of fits in, it makes it nice. I feel like I can move that joystick with ease. On the X100V, that was one of our complaints, was ergonomically, it didn't have this kind of bump out here. So this is definitely, the ergonomics on this are much, much better. Obviously, one of the things that we love is the ability to do 4K at 60 frames per second. 422, internal, having those log profiles. Those are all things that are definitely welcome changes with this camera. And let's talk about the screen. You know, that was one thing that we said that we didn't like, but we do also like it. So, you know, we're kind of stuck in this middle where, you know, time will tell as we get more and more used to it. Is it something that we are going to like or dislike? Right now, we're kind of 50-50 with it. You know, there's a lot of reasons to love it, but there are a lot of reasons to dislike it. You know, we're used to that Fuji pop-out screen. So when you're shooting vertical, you know, you can kind of pop that out. This is just kind of that extra step. And having, you know, I've always worked with fully articulating screens, so for me, I don't think it's as big of a deal, but I just wish this bottom plate wasn't on there. And the final thing is the battery. This is another thing where we can go either way with. You know, I do love that the battery has 2 times the amount of shots out of one battery. And when you put that grip on there, I mean, that's so much battery to allow us to shoot all day long. So it's both a pro and a con. You know, we understand, like I said, a catch-22, we understand why there's a bigger battery, and we love that it has the bigger battery, that we can shoot longer, but it's just gonna take some adjustment. So none of these at all are deal breakers. I don't feel like they missed at all with this camera in any way. Are there some things that we don't like or we're gonna take getting used to? Absolutely, but I feel like it's that with any camera. You know, it's something new without actually seeing, playing with it, getting time in your hands, getting frames through the camera. You're not really gonna know until you put it through its paces. So what we wanna know from you, are there some questions that you've had that maybe we can answer for you? Is this a camera that you're going to pre-order? Is there a certain feature that you want us to do a deep dive in? Please let us know in the comments below. We want to make sure that when we're doing these hands-on videos, when we have the time with the camera to get you the information that you need, that we're telling you exactly what you want to know with this camera. So please let us know in the comments below. And as always, we are here to help. If you need absolutely anything, please feel free to reach out. So thank you guys so much for following along as we went through some of our favorite features of the camera. So where can you get one of these? Number one, you can get it from thepixelconnection.com. You'll have a link down in the description below where you can pre-order yours today. I highly suggest if this is a camera that you want, get on the pre-order list because there is a lot of hype, there's a lot of excitement around this camera and they're gonna go quick. So make sure that you do a pre-order below. Number two, when is it released? Well, if you're watching this video, that means it has now been announced and they're actually talking about shipping happening this spring. So I would say April timeframe is when this will ship. So one thing, like I said about the pre-orders, make sure that you're getting on that list early because there is gonna be a window in which it is announced and then a couple months are gonna go by before they actually start to ship and that pre-order list is gonna get longer and longer. So if this is a camera that you need in your workflow, that you need in your arsenal, make sure you pre-order it as soon as possible. If you have any questions about the camera leading up to that, or something that you would like to see in future videos, please leave us a comment in the description below, in the comments below, and we'll definitely get back to you as soon as possible. TJ Houston from Pixel Connection, thanks.